threaten me? Vetch, you let him talk you into this?
The subject is money.
I just ask you a question.
What?
Since when you take orders from Nurture?
Don't answer that.
You need work this bad.
Leave him out of it.
I've seen the first 4 episodes of Disney Plus's new Star Wars show, Andor. This is following the exploits of Cassian Andor, leading up to the events of Rogue One. And it's already been announced that there's going to be a subsequent season, so it will probably lead right up to where we catch up with Cassian in Rogue One, which is really cool. I enjoy this character quite a bit. I love Rogue One. I thought Rogue One is such an underappreciated gem of a Star Wars experience. I thought the story was just incredible. And that's a movie that just grows in my estimation over time. Every time I see Rogue One, I appreciate it more. So it really felt fantastic to jump back into Tony Gilroy, who is the show creator and showrunner on this one, to jump back into the world that he envisaged around Star Wars. And what's cool about this show, and also Rogue One, is that there's an earthiness, a groundedness, a realism that we get to experience. Like, we really do feel like we're in the lives of regular citizens as the Empire is growing in prominence, and we're seeing the oppression firsthand. It's not this abstract kind of concept. It's not this idea. It's not this grander vision that has to be explained to us. We can see the oppression before our eyes. We can see the bloated bullies that the Empire has become, like the group that Andor meets at the beginning of the series. And I thought that the casting for this show was just absolutely incredible. Diego Luna is a great lead performer. He is a great actor, and I enjoy his work a lot. I loved him in Narcos. I've loved him in almost everything I've seen him in, and he's terrific as Cassian Andor. And what's really cool is to dive into the interviews with this man and to see how much he loves this experience and how grateful he is that he has this opportunity. And I just think it's a wonderful story outside of Star Wars that this whole thing has come together for Diego Luna. It's also a really interesting examination of a corner, a nook, an area of the Star Wars myth that we really haven't had to explore. You know, so much of what we've done has been echoes of what George Lucas imagined and then Dave Filoni kind of embellished. And that's been great, and there's been lots of incredible entertainment. But yes, there are some darker elements and some seedier elements and some more human elements of Star Wars that I think we get to examine here. And that goes for the people that are trying to build up the rebellion. And I'm not reviewing the whole series because I've only seen the first 4 episodes, but I was really blown away by the commitment to make something feel special and unique, but also connected as well, you know, which I think Rogue One exhibited all of those qualities as well. Essentially, we're catching up with Andor as this guy that is kind of a mercenary. He's on the rebel side. He does jobs for money. He's got grand plans. We get a little bit of flashback element in here to see how his hostility for the Empire started to manifest inside of him. And we get a better understanding of what motivates him. And then we meet some other incredible characters along the way. One of them is Bix Caleen, who is an ally of Andor's and believes in him, although has some issues with him. She's played by Adria Arjona, and she's terrific. And she also has this other relationship in the show. And that's also what kind of impressed me about this, is that these humans feel tethered to each other. You know, they really feel like they care for each other. I was really impressed by Fiona Shaw's relationship to Andor as well. It felt very truthful and emotional. And of course, it's always amazing to see Stellan Skarsgård appear in anything, and he's terrific in this as Luthen Rael, who has this kind of knowing, world-weary quality about him, and he connects with Andor and has a real curiosity about who Andor is. I don't know where that's going to go, but I really like the introduction of that relationship and that character. I thought that was super cool. But also on the Empire side, or on the dark side, there's some really interesting characters as well that we're getting to know as people, which is, I think, the thing that impresses me the most about this. Kyle Soller plays this really ambitious officer. He really wants more respect and more responsibility, and you can see it in his face in every decision. Even though he's being outwitted in certain specific situations, he's just like so angsty and ready to go, and so clean cut and perfectly polished and everything. And his foil, Dedra Miro, played by Denise Gough, has the same amount of ambition and drive and determination, and she's as put together as Cyril is, and you see them kind of sniping back and forth a little bit, but very fascinating characters. And that extends out to other supporting characters and their performances, just interesting people with interesting accents and different takes on the work. You know, it doesn't feel like it's just a copy of things that we've seen before. It feels fresh, and I think a huge part of it also has to be the shot on location vibe of the series as well. You see people trudging through hillsides and forests and ruins and city streets. It just feels much more open. This wasn't shot in the volume, and I'm not trying to throw shade at the Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian. I've loved especially The Mandalorian. That might be my favorite show of all time, but I just like this brand new take and this real kind of sensibility of this series. And it's a little bit more mature. You actually see into bedrooms, and you see people genuinely care about each other, and they're trying to coexist. And it's messy on an emotional sense, but also in a visceral sense, because they're outdoors and they're in the world. And I'm just completely captivated by it. And there's also huge effects scenes around all of that as well. Very movie quality cinematic stuff. And that's only in the first 4 episodes, which are admittedly a little more slower paced, but I just love the attention to detail and all of these little touches and pieces that are being put into place. And I cannot wait to see where this thing goes. So I am super impressed with Andor. I feel like it's a breath of fresh air and a story that really deserved to be told, with lots of really interesting characters, and who knows where the threads go from here. But I'm in. I'll be watching it week to week like you guys, and I'll come back at the end of the season with a full review. But it gets a huge thumbs up from me. I think you guys should definitely be watching Andor.